Welcome back to Up for 90, where the MLS regular season has officially concluded, which means it is time for MLS Awards. And as my first year as an MLS writer, it is my first year submitting an official MLS Awards ballot. And we can dive right in with the most important award, the biggest award, the most valuable player. And I have gone for the greatest footballer of all time, Lionel Messi. Of course, this was a real two-horse race between Messi and Columbus Crew's Cucho Hernandez, who had the best argument of having the most game-winning goal contributions throughout the season, 12 to Messi's 7. But if you're going to make the argument of the team with the biggest drop-off without their star, to me, you would have to pick Evander of the Portland Timbers, because the Timbers would probably be closer to the San Jose Earthquakes at the bottom of the table rather than the playoff spot that they made without Evander. But you're also not going to pick Evander because they just snuck into the playoffs. So that brings us to Lionel Messi and the idea that he didn't play enough games. He was injured and he missed so much of the season. But I think there's some truth to that and some myth to that. First off is that there are 34 games in an MLS season. The problem is MLS plays through international breaks, which means that the 6 games that Lionel Messi was away winning a tournament for his country at Copa America, he wasn't playing in MLS. He would have missed another game in MLS during an international break, which he happened to be injured in, but that would have left 27 possible games for Lionel Messi to play in this season. He played in 19 of those. To me, that is a good enough proportion. And when you look at the impact that he had in those games, he still, even though he played 19 games, had the most goal contributions in the league with 20 goals and 16 assists. And in that final game when he really needed to make a statement to MVP voters on decision day, he became the first substitute in MLS history with a hat trick plus an assist. That's why I just think if you look at the time he spent on the pitch, he had 1.2 goals per 90, well above anybody else in the league, leading to a joint record for Major League Soccer of 6 Player of the Week awards in a single season. He was just the best player on the pitch when he was on the pitch, and for me that makes him the MVP while he has the most goal contributions, no question about it. That brings us to Coach of the Year, which was another battle between Inter Miami and Columbus Crew, and Wilfried Nancy has been a top 3 coach in MLS for the past 3 seasons, but for a 3rd season in a row, I believe he will get edged out for this award. And when you look at the argument against Messi that Miami had a slightly better points per game average without him, people are using that to argue against Messi's MVP case. I think you also have to, if you're going to do that, argue that that is for Tata Martino's Coach of the Year case, because even without the best player in the world, that didn't seem to make a difference for Inter Miami too much. He obviously had the best team on paper, but if you're, again, going for simple overperformance, to me, somebody like Dean Smith would be your answer of Charlotte FC. And while I love Dean Smith and just think he deserves to get all the praise that he does, an MLS points record with 74 points in a season, to me, absolutely earns you the Coach of the Year award for Tata Martino. And if they go on to win MLS Cup, as they are favored to do, to me, they become the greatest team in MLS history. That moves us to Newcomer of the Year, which I could have easily picked another Inter Miami player in Luis Suarez for, and I was sure he was going to win this award a month or 2 ago, but even with his incredible final game on decision day, Gabriel Peck still finished with more goal contributions, 16 goals and 14 assists, to Luis Suarez's 20 goals and 9 assists. And I think Peck has just been simply a slightly more impressive player to me. Maybe that's because I already know how good Luis Suarez is. Maybe not. I still think this was a very, very close race. And if you went either way, fair enough to you. I've gone for LA Galaxy's Gabriel Peck. On to the Young Player of the Year, and this one was not so close to me. It is Real Salt Lake's Diego Luna. Diego Gomez topped my 22 under 22 list, the Inter Miami midfielder, but that was mostly based on potential. When you look at who has had a great season, you look at Philadelphia Union's Quinn Sullivan and Jack McGlynn, who have both been fantastic this year, but to me, Luna has just undoubtedly been the best young player in the league. 8 goals, 12 assists, and competing with Chicho Arango for Real Salt Lake's best player this season. Fantastic from Diego Luna. That brings us to Defender of the Year, and Columbus Crew finally get an award here with Steven Moreira, who is a very unique player, especially in this system. He was originally a right back. He has been converted into a center back, or really this right center back position. He is a ball progressor, a chance creator. He has 2 goals, 4 assists, but he's also a lockdown 1v1 defender. I have not seen anybody lock down Denny Bouanga the way that Steven Moreira has done. Denny Bouanga is the most difficult 1v1 assignment in the entire league. Moreira has pocketed him 3 times in a row now, including a 5-1 win in Los Angeles, the only of those 3 that technically counts towards this award. But he also even has a Goal of the Year nominee as a defender. He does it all. Steven Moreira, your Defender of the Year, or my Defender of the Year at least. That brings us into the net and the Goalkeeper of the Year, Charlotte FC's Christian Kalina. I was very close to picking Hugo Lloris here because I think he's been great, not just because the 2 topped MLS charts with 12 clean sheets either, but Lloris has also made some incredible saves and adds incredible leadership. Lloris has lived up to what I expected him to be when he arrived, which was basically a replica of last season's Goalkeeper of the Year, Roman Bürki, who had an incredible career in Europe, came over to MLS, and seemingly didn't get the respect that he deserved and proved everybody wrong. The same happened with Hugo Lloris, except Hugo Lloris did it for pennies on the dollar. But Kalina still deserves this award because he has prevented so many more goals than Lloris has. He's had to face more difficult shots and still conceded fewer goals. He faced 100 shots from within the box compared to Lloris's 67. That is give you an idea of what has led to the more difficult, higher XG shots that Kalina has had to face. Beyond that, he is one of only 3 players in the entire league to play every single minute this season. Obviously, that helps being a goalkeeper. 2 of those 3 were goalkeepers, but still an impressive stat, and Kalina fully deserves the Goalkeeper of the Year award, which he will certainly win. On to the Comeback Player of the Year, and again, this was another head-to-head toss-up. I have gone for Red Bull New York's Lewis Morgan over Minnesota United's Robin Lod. Very close. Morgan had 13 goals and 7 assists to Lod's 7 goals and 15 assists. But to me, Morgan represents all of what this Comeback Player of the Year is about. He was so good in 2022, but people seem to forget how good of a player he was when he got injured in 2023, and he came back and reminded them this season. He also had just such a brutal hip injury that seemed to continue to get worse and worse, going up into his back and etc., until it finally got better. I just love this award, and what it encapsulates. Lewis Morgan encapsulates that all for me. And I think MLS should even add a similar award to this called the Breakout Player of the Year. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me on that. But that brings us to our last and final award, the Impact Player of the Year, which is actually an off-the-field award. It relates to how much impact you are making in your community. And for me, this was actually the easiest pick, and that is LAFC's Ilie Sanchez. He does constant work in the community, spending so much time with people of all walks of life, just building throughout LA. He absolutely loves the city of LA. Even after he plays a full 90-minute game at BMO Stadium, he will stay at 11 p.m. at night and coach the unified teams. It's just who he is. Not only is he one of the kindest footballers I've ever met in my life, but he is one of the kindest human beings I've ever met in my life. He is the epitome of what this award is, and he fully deserves it. I hope he wins it this year. And that is the conclusion of my awards. I will put on screen now for you my best 11, which I also submitted to MLS as part of this ballot. As you can see, a few of these award winners also snuck in there. A very attacking best 11, but that's the way it is in MLS. Let me know what you think of my awards. Let me know what you think of my best 11. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscription below. It really, really helps out the channel, and I will see you next time.